3 myths about VPNs that even tech bros get wrong. Plus, the Wi-Fi settings most Arizona homeowners have completely wrong. Welcome back to Behind the Network. I'm Anthony Miller, owner-operator of TREPIC Networks.
I'm Alec Miller, operations manager here at TREPIC Networks, and we're back for episode 5.
Yes, let's go.
Woo! We got some fun stuff to talk about today. First thing is kind of unveiling a little bit more about VPNs. We talked about it in the past, but we're really going to dive a little bit deeper into it.
Yes.
First thing is just explaining what a VPN stands for. We got a virtual private network.
Yep, it's basically, if people want to look at it, the best thing, it's basically taking your instance or your computer and you're connecting to a virtual private network somewhere else. That can be in your same city. It can be in a different city. Some people do it outside of the country. Some people do it like in Las Vegas.
Yep.
It depends. Like a lot of people, when they work from home at their company, usually it's where their company headquarters. So if your company headquarters is in Vegas and you work in Phoenix, when they hook up your VPN, it actually makes your computer appear in Vegas,
right, and
where their VPN is.
And I think a lot of people don't understand what it actually does, and the reason they do that is because they have certain security protocols at their home base, their headquarters, that allow computers at that headquarters to access certain files, certain programs, certain docs,
certain websites,
so it can create an instance like you're sitting at the headquarters connected to the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it's security basically for the company that they make you run on their equipment.
And
so they handed you a laptop.
Yes, they don't have to open up all their programs to the world.
Right.
They can just open them up and give you access to their
it gives you a connection to where you connect to their headquarters, and then you can access all their internal data, all their files, everything, without having to control your home router or anything like that.
Yeah, and two things that probably the average person kind of cares about is that it encrypts your traffic.
Yes.
So nobody between you and the website can see exactly what you're doing, and it hides your real IP address.
Yes, it really is a secure thing for the company, and like I said, it is secure protocol, because let's say something else on your network and you're on a VPN, they can't see any of your traffic or anything that's going because it's through that VPN tunnel.
Yeah, your internet provider.
Your internet provider,
or someone who has access to your Wi-Fi, or someone who has access to your internet can't see any of that.
Right, it's over the virtual private network, it's all on there, and so it is high security, and a lot of companies are requiring employees to do that. If you're going to work from home, they make you do a VPN.
So what it actually can protect you from, for like the average people, is if you're on public Wi-Fi, you're sitting at a Starbucks, at a hotel, airport.
Yes.
That's kind of the main place of vulnerability, I guess, is your traffic in a public place where you have no idea what's going on in their Wi-Fi. So you switch on a VPN, it encrypts all your traffic, it hides all of your IP address stuff and like that.
And most, like I said, most companies require it, especially working from home, but it is for those public instances as well. But it causes a lot of issues for our customers specifically, because they're on a VPN and then they have weird speed issues, because not only do they control what you're looking at, what you're going to, and that they control the speed. And sometimes it can give some like false pretenses, like if you run a speed test, it shows you're in Vegas, you run a speed test, and it's speed testing to Phoenix, Arizona. If you're in Phoenix, Arizona, you're actually going to Vegas, speed testing back to Phoenix.
And you have to jump through a lot of hoops to get to Vegas, and if any of those hoops have a slightly smaller tunnel, then you're limited to the smallest tunnel that you're
even the
through.
Companies sometimes limit the VPN tunnels, because they might have thousands of employees that are VPNing to the same thing, and they limit the VPN tunnel.
But then if people end up, they leave it on their work laptop, they leave it on their home router, and then they go try to watch a Netflix movie while their kids watch a Netflix movie, and they only have a 20 meg connection.
And then they're like, why is my thing buffering? Well, they left their VPN on.
And then they call us.
Or they signed up for our plan and they're only getting 10 meg. And what they don't understand, it's on the VPN and there's nothing they can do about it. They shut the VPN off and the speed goes way back to whatever we sold.
It's one of our most common practices with troubleshooting, especially, is if we have a customer who's working from home, the first thing we ask them to do is turn off their VPN on their laptop and run a speed test, so we can make sure we're not testing through that VPN.
We don't want to do any test because it does. There's a lot of things that you lose control of when you're on a VPN. Like the person who set up the VPN has all the control. They control how fast it's going, where it's going to, what websites it can go to. It increases latency. So like people see really crazy latency spikes sometimes on a VPN, and that's just because it has to go through all the things. So it connects to our data center here in Phoenix that we're in, and then it connects to the data center in Phoenix, and then it connects to the office in Las Vegas or whatever, and it connects through all those things, and then it goes out to the internet to do the speed test.
How I kind of got introduced to VPNs, and it's one of our topics here, is one of the cool uses for a VPN is geo-restricted content, which most people don't know that if you're in other countries or even if you're in other states, they have content restricted by your state or by your country. Like when I was in high school, I wanted to watch a TV show, Avatar: The Last Airbender, and it was only available outside of the United States on Netflix. They didn't have it available, so I'd get a VPN, I'd host myself in Europe or in Mexico, and I'd be able to watch that show. And same for sporting events. You know, I watch a lot of football, and a lot of it's blocked. Like if you just have a standard connection, you don't have the Sunday ticket for football, you can put yourself in the state where that football game is, and it's available on normal channels.
And another sample, one of our pull owners, or our pull sites, actually goes to Mexico, and he wanted to watch shows that he watches when he's in America. He traveled to Mexico to vacation or whatever, and while he was there, he couldn't watch anything. So he asked us to set him up a VPN
back to his house.
Back to his house. So we helped him build a VPN to where he could VPN to his house, and it would appear like he was watching the shows at his house.
That's another thing is a lot of people don't understand is that you can build them for free to locations you have control over.
Yes, you can build a VPN to their own house. People can create that, and if they have a server, I mean, it depends on how technical they get and what they want to do, but they can VPN back to their own house and watch the same thing. So if they're in another country that doesn't allow you to watch certain shows, they can VPN back to their house and watch those.
Well, let's address the myths that we kind of talked about in the opening. One, it does not make you anonymous. The VPN company itself can see all of your traffic. It does not speed up your internet. It almost always actually slows it down.
More commonly it does that.
It does not protect you from clicking on sketchy links or downloading harmful files. And it does not prevent websites from tracking you. They still see your cookies and they still see your account info. So those are really common myths that people get a VPN to protect themselves, and you still can't protect yourself from everything.
No, those things are still vulnerable on a VPN even at that rate. Now it does protect you, like we said, from certain websites. If you're on a VPN that your work sets up, sometimes those sites are not allowed that have those things that have malware and stuff like that. And so it does protect you from that, but it doesn't protect you from the other things for sure.
Let's see. When TREPIC customers should actually use a VPN. If you're on public Wi-Fi, you're traveling, when you're internationally and you want access to US only services, if you want to keep your browsing private from your roommate, family network, admin, or workplace.
If your workplace requires it, we definitely recommend using it. We do have a lot of users, not a lot, but we do have a handful of users that end up downloading the VPNs on their phones and running VPNs on their phones nonstop. And it just causes weird issues. And then once we figure out that that's what somebody sold them, you know, they got an app that sold them a VPN on their phone, they just have issues nonstop. And then once we turn that off, they're like, wow, my phone works so much better. It loads so much faster. And so I kind of, if you're using it for a specific purpose, it's really good. If you're using it because somebody sold you this security thing that you think you have to have, I would definitely not recommend running it unless you're doing it for a specific purpose, because it just causes more problems than it's worth.
The general security reasoning, unless you're educated enough on what it actually does.
And you accept that your phone's going to run terrible while you're doing that. You know what I mean? If you're doing something and you want the security while you're doing that, your phone's going to run terrible while that's going on. But you should immediately shut it off after you're done doing whatever the security thing that you want to do. Shut it off and go back to normal use, because everyday users, you know, trying to stream Facebook, watch Netflix, stuff like that, don't need a VPN to do any of that.
Do you want to walk us through our how to pick a VPN, or a little quick guide? Walk our fan base through.
I would avoid free VPNs. I mean, they do have them. You can use them. Some of them do like free and they show ads. You can pay for the ads to be removed. Those ones are still good. Just make sure it's a name that has trust, and it has a a lot of ratings. Like if you're going to go to the App Store, make sure there's a lot of good ratings. Make sure you do your research, do your homework on a VPN. All the work ones, if your work is setting it up, it's 100% fine. It should be good. I would definitely recommend using those, and sometimes employers require it.
Well, and I definitely, if you're on a work VPN, I wouldn't do any of your personal stuff on your work VPN, because then your boss is going to see everything you do at home.
Yeah, because you got to imagine your computer is lifted up and set at their headquarters.
Yep.
So everything that you do on the network is tracked through their network now, not through ours or anything else. It's through their network.
Yep.
And so, yeah, just look for that. Yeah, I would just be very cautious on the VPN you pick, because it could cause a lot more harm than good. And so a VPN is a useful tool if you know how to use it, know what it's good for, know what you're doing with it, and always turn it on when you need it, turn it off when you don't. You know what I mean? Standard practice, don't run it. Use it for when you need it in those specific cases. Like you said, at a Starbucks or whatever, definitely use it.
Agreed. Okay. Next segment is, you touched on this in the opening, is the setting that most homeowners get wrong. This is kind of a big one. It's something we run into a lot with our customers.
Yes.
Is the difference between a 2.4 and 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. Yes. And why your smart home is probably using the wrong one.
Yeah.
And I'll just kind of go through the plane. So your router broadcasts Wi-Fi on, kind of imagine 2 different highway lanes. They're called bands, and there's 2.4 gigahertz and there's 5 gigahertz. There are some newer routers with 6 gigahertz, which is like a Wi-Fi 6E router and Wi-Fi 7. Each of them have their trade-offs. They can both be used in different formats for different devices, depending on what you want to do. So kind of walk us through the 2.4 gigahertz, why you should be using it, what devices you should connect to that.
Yeah, so 2.4, what we tell all our customers is things that are far away from your router, printers, cameras, things that can only do that. I know a lot of the initial cameras could only do 2.4.
Yep.
That's because they figured you'd put them on the outside of your home and they want to connect on a stable network.
Yep.
Well, 2.4 travels way better through walls. So imagine if your router's in the center of your house, you got like 5 walls till your camera on the outside. 5 gig, 6 gig, all that stuff does not travel very good through those walls. The 2.4 does a lot better job at that. And you'll even notice that, like if you go walk outside your home, you might be able to see the 2.4 gigahertz network. And it has like 4 or 5 bars, but then you see the 5 gigahertz network and it's like 1 or 2 bars.
Well, and the other thing just to know is that it's typically a slower connection.
Yes.
But it works farther away, and so any of those devices that don't require very much internet access, like anything smart home related, anything, your fridge, your thermometer, your light bulbs, all of them. The
hard part about cameras is they're making better cameras that do better video, and then they're doing it over 2.4, but
it still doesn't, it's not this, like,
no,
you'd prefer them to have a better connection.
Yes, yeah, you would prefer them, because people want them up 24/7. They want live recording all the time. You would prefer a more stable connection over a stronger thing, and a lot of it can do like buffering type things to where it doesn't upload constantly. It does like bulk uploads and stuff like that.
Yep.
And so, but we just tell people, any devices that are going to be on the outside of your home or that are not, you know, mission critical or whatever, put them on the 2.4. Anything that you need fast speeds, work computers or whatever, make sure they're close to the router and do on the 5 gigahertz network.
Yes, it's definitely, like 5 gig is what I connect to, like my PlayStation, my computer, my PC, my TVs. Things that I'm using a lot, streaming on, whatever, downloading on, anything like that, I connect to my 5G.
Yes, it's way faster, much better, more stable connection, but like I said, it's better closer to the router. And some of these other ones we have listed here, the 6E, is even a shorter distance to the router.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But it's way more bandwidth. And so these other ones are even stronger, but they're closer to the router.
Yep.
So you get more download speed, it just has to be closer to the router. So.
And the other thing that we've kind of got to note in here is a lot of devices that you buy that broadcast their own Wi-Fi, and like a baby monitor or Bluetooth devices often use 2.4.
Yes.
There's way more interference on the 2.4.
Yeah, which is some of the speed and disconnect issues and whatnot, is it's a very dirty band because it's been around for so long. There's a lot of devices that already use it. Like if you do one of those scans on your laptop, you can see a ton of 2.4 networks and not as many 5, and even less of these 6E and 7 bands because hardly anybody has a router that can do those, and most devices can't do those. So it's it's one of those things that it's definitely recommended that that 2.4 is meant for like older devices. I always just think of printers and smart light bulbs. I think my wife bought a light bulb that connects to the 2.4. Your Alexa, stuff like that. Yeah,
stuff that you just don't. It needs an internet connection, but it doesn't need to download something. Or
no large files, no streaming, no video, nothing of that nature.
Yeah, because they just don't require very much. So kind of the tip or trick is, and the mistake that people make is they connect their TV to their 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi. I ran into the problem last night with my wife. Our TV wasn't loading, and I went into the Wi-Fi settings. I said, "Why did you connect to the 2.4?" She's like, "I don't know. I just connected it to one."
Right.
And that's honestly that's what most people think. They think it doesn't matter. They just connect it to Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And so I went through and I forgot the 2.4 network and said, "Don't do that again."
My wife had the same problem. She on her phone she put the 5 gig and the 2.4. She connected to both. And every time she'd complain about it was connected to the 2.4, and I'm like, just forget it.
Well, that's because you think you're walking out from your house and you're walking in, the first one it's going to see is the 2.4.
Yes.
It's going to connect to that one and it's going to stay on that one.
Yes.
And you're rarely going to automatically connect to the 5G one.
Right. Yep. And so I just told her, I'm like, just forget it. And then I haven't heard from her since. I forgot it on her, and then we're good to go.
Yep. We kind of touched on the 6E.
Yeah.
But, just kind of the main point is that the right connection for your device can really improve your usage of that device, whether it's something that needs to be on the 2.4 or 5G. It should be a conscious choice rather than just connecting to Wi-Fi, and overall you'll have a better experience.
Well, and also just be cautious of that too. If you get to a device that can't even see the 5 gig or see the newer networks, think about the age of that device, and maybe if you're having problems on that device, maybe it's time to upgrade that device. If it can't even see the 5 gig and it can only see the 2.4, the 2.4 has been around forever. It was in all devices for a long time. And the 5 gig is relatively new, especially the AC and stuff like that. And so it's one of those things, if you can't even see the 5 gig, maybe it's time for a new device.
And I'm going to, it has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I'm going to give out the cheapest trick to upgrade your 15-year-old TV. Go to Walmart and buy a $35 Roku, plug it into the TV. The TV's just a monitor now.
Yes.
And now you've got 2025 technology on a really nice big TV for $35. And you don't have to go buy the $800 TV.
No.
That's a free tip, and it works every time.
Yes. Yep. So. We have tons of people that have issues with their TV. I even had my mother-in-law had her TV. It wouldn't connect to Wi-Fi. She's like, why doesn't it work? I'm like, just go buy a Roku. Just eliminate the TV. She's like, but then I can't use my TV remote. And I said, no, you can turn it on with your TV remote, control the volume, but use your Roku. And I think even the new ones,
you can control it all.
The new ones, they're smart. They're taking over the TVs and they're doing volume and turning it on.
Yep.
And so they're getting better and smarter for sure.
Okay, our last little segment here is, we're in Arizona, what the heat actually does to your internet, especially us getting into the summer right now. So generally, it's not going to affect equipment, but it can. All of our equipment is outdoor rated. It lasts in the heat. We've been using this equipment for 8+ years. We've tested it all, and we don't really see that kind of problems. I mean, obviously, after 4 or 5 years, just in general, electronics are going to go bad. Yep. You're eventually going to hit a point, but
eventually getting baked in the sun 5 years in a row is going to do some damage. I mean, we get some dishes that have been out for. I mean, we've had dishes last longer than 5 years, but the failure rate is about 5 years being baked in the sun 5 years in a row.
Right.
You can just tell electronic equipment burns up.
Yes.
It is rated to the higher temperatures, but not after years and years of abuse. You know what I mean? It's literally, you got to think the equipment is on your roof running 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, even through the 115 degrees.
And if we invested in equipment that couldn't survive that, we wouldn't have very many customers.
Right. It's one of those things that it just burns up over time. It's just 5 years. Being baked in the sun, it just doesn't last. We even have stuff that burns up in our cabinets, like you're dealing with air conditioners now. They've been out in the sun getting baked up because we air condition all of our tower sites.
Yep.
And the air conditioners are getting burned up in the heat.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And those are super expensive, supposed to be rated for the heat. They're air conditioners.
Yep.
And they still get burned up. Parts still fail in those.
Yeah.
And so it's just nothing you can do after so many years. It's just eventually going to burn up, and so we just trade out that equipment. But it is all rated to withstand the heat.
Yeah, and there are a lot of like it doesn't, we don't do it anymore, but you know, someone would ask us to install the internet in like a garage or in a shed, and the router is the piece that wouldn't survive because that is not a piece that is designed to be outside.
Yeah, we even tried that with the fiber modules. When we first did the fiber modules, we started putting them in, we mounted them outside, I think, on that first house.
Yes.
And literally the guy called us like a couple days later, he's like, every day at 3 o'clock he goes out.
Yep, right, and when the sun would hit right over his block
so we
wall.
tried and whatever, and all we did was move the fiber modules are supposed to be rated for outside.
Yep.
But they clearly are not. So we moved those to the garage and they still survive.
I will say the fiber stuff, like all the underground stuff, all the stuff in our cabinet, that's all, you know, totally different from wireless. We're almost until we get up to the house, we're not exposed to the Arizona heat.
Yes.
At all with fiber.
Yes.
We have no exposure to the heat or the sun or anything like that baking on our.
No, we still have electronics in cabinets that are air conditioned.
Yeah.
So we still have that. But you're right, there's nothing that's going to get baked that's going to burn up over time.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, there's no direct, like our dishes are on top of the roof, the hottest part.
Yep.
Getting baked with all the reflection of the roof, just getting baked all day long.
Yes.
And so not only baked, but they're getting baked direct sunlight, like all day long. So yeah, it's definitely, it's a different world here in Arizona. We're from Wyoming originally, and we had to deal with the cold up there, and now we're dealing with the heat down here, so it's a little different. But
a couple of tips just to keep your home Wi-Fi, you know, in good working order is keep your router out of direct sunlight. Those devices just are not meant to heat up beyond what their operating temperature is.
Yep, don't put it in the windowsill. Don't put your router up in the windowsill to make sure that you get that Wi-Fi on the outside of your house, because inevitably the sun's going to bake it. I don't know if anybody's ever felt their router, but depending on your router, some of them get pretty hot.
Well, they already run hot.
Yeah, they just run hot generally. And so you just, putting a hot thing in the direct sunlight doesn't really make sense.
Don't put your router in a closed cabinet. This is something I've had happen at my house. I had all my electronics equipment shoved into a cabinet underneath my TV, like the most common place that everyone does it. Yeah. And I started having issues with crap. Yeah. So, that's something definitely to avoid.
It's a little mix of both. I mean, some people they'll put a thing in their cabinet, and then they'll put like a metal shield like right next to it, and they'll be like, I don't know what happened, it just stopped working. But also the heat thing, back to the heat thing, when it's in a cabinet that's enclosed, inevitably people end up shoving other stuff in there.
Oh yeah.
Right? It becomes like the cabinet that they shove everything in. Mm-hmm. Well, now you're trapping all that heat, and all the fans and things to cool down that thing don't work anymore, because you're literally like shoving blankets on top of a router to heat up in a cabinet.
The thing is, like, the most common place to install internet in the home is in the center of the living room.
Yes.
Right behind the TV, where everyone's got a nice place to shove all the stuff in. Right. I did it. I had a PlayStation in there. I had my router in there. I had my Ring security system, and my PlayStation didn't work.
Yes.
It would run for 15 minutes and then stop working.
Yep. PlayStations overheat too. It's all electronic equipment. They overheat and everything as well. So you just got to be careful of where you put your stuff. Make sure it's got cooling. Make sure it's not too hot. Make sure it's not direct sunlight. There's just a couple of things that if you do them, it'll make the stuff last longer. Your router will last longer. Your internet will work better. Your overall experience will be way better.
But just to land
on a point is that we have done a lot of research, a lot of market research, product research. We have the right cable, we have the right equipment, we have the right guys to install it in locations that we're not going to see any of those issues other than standard failure. Yeah. So if you're with a provider that's having issues in the summer, it might have been something that they installed incorrectly or didn't use outdoor rated equipment, whatever it is.
Yeah, your internet shouldn't slow down just because it gets hot in July.
Nope, it should not.
It should not, so.
Okay, let's move on to our FAQs, our 5 questions at the end of the day. First one is, if a VPN is so good, why isn't it built into every browser by default?
The general question is because browsers really don't build in VPNs. It's more like a third-party type operation. It's also a kind of a conflict of interest. Like the browsers, the VPN is picking up your entire. It's not just your browser stuff that is. People have a hard time understanding that, but it's not like just your browser is operating out of the office. Your entire computer is operating out of the office. So like like think of your files uploading and stuff. So like sometimes, like especially on Works, they have access to drives and stuff like that. Once you put that in the VPN, all those drives, all that traffic via uploading and downloading via drive traffic is not there.
Yep.
It's not just a browser thing. I know that's what they sell it on and whatnot, and that's what they try to do it on. But like a lot of applications, everything. So if you have apps on your phone and you turn a VPN on, every app that you open on your phone is going over that VPN.
Right.
It doesn't matter where it's going to, whatever it's doing, it's all going over the VPN. So it's not really just a browser product. It's more of a...
And the point you're kind of landing on is that if I had it installed on Google Chrome, everything I did on Google Chrome would be through the VPN.
Yes.
But everything I did elsewhere on my laptop through any other browser or anything else would not be through the VPN.
Right, you'd open Safari or a different browser or something, and you get around the VPN.
Yeah, and
the idea is to lift your entire platform or operating
your
system
computer itself
to that other network and do that.
Yep. The note that we have in here is also, which is a good point, is the conflict of interest with the ad supporters.
Yes.
Google makes a lot of money off of selling ads.
Yep.
And if they directly installed for free a VPN that could block ads in their browser,
yes, that would go against their entire business model.
Yep, they would never do that.
Yep.
Let's see, we did talk about this one. It's can microwave really mess up my Wi-Fi? We talked about it earlier.
Yes.
It can. Not so much in like a bubble around the microwave. It's not like a 6-foot bubble around your microwave. It's not going to work, but directly through the microwave, it's not going to work.
The most common thing is your microwave isn't just sitting there radiating 2.4. It's only while it's working.
Right.
And so like what you used to have is somebody would go heat up something in the microwave and then like the phone would stop working or whatever, or your device wouldn't load something while it was. Now doing that, microwaves create a lot of radiation. So if you put your router directly on top of your microwave, over time,
that's the real problem.
It's going to sit there and burn up because you're basically putting like two transmitters right next to each other, and they're just headbutting just nonstop. Every time you're on your microwave, it's sitting there saying, "Hey, I want this, I want this," and so it's over time it will burn up your stuff on top of there.
You put a microwave that its job is to create radio waves and also completely eliminate them from leaving that box.
Right.
And you put that right next to the box that you want to send radio waves out to your old house.
Yeah.
It's going to eliminate a whole half of the router.
That's what people don't understand. Like, say you put your router here and then your microwave's here. Well, there's going to be like this, it's not a perfect propagation, but there's like this shield. If you go stand on this side of the microwave, your internet's not going to work very good.
Yeah.
Now, it's like a bubble type operation, but it's one of those things like if you put it behind your microwave, it's definitely not going to provide very good service.
Yes.
Between that and the wall, you know what I mean? It's just not a good idea.
Let's see.
Why does my Wi-Fi go out when it rains? Well, there's lots of explanations for this. One of the biggest ones is like with radio microwave antennas that have to connect to each other and talk to each other. When you put a single rain droplet in between those, it's not going to cut off. Right. But when you put a lot of it over miles in between there may be some fade in the connection between the two links.
Yes.
And we work around this. We have lots of equipment that works well when it starts to fade.
We try to plan it to where the signal is so good that it calculates in some rain fade, as we would say.
Yeah, and really the main interference is our tower-to-tower connection, not so much the subscriber to our tower.
Well, kind of, but the new equipment really, because the bandwidth is so high, our new 60 gigahertz equipment is affected more by rain.
Right.
But the signal's so good and we're so close to the people, it really doesn't get affected.
It's less, yeah.
But the higher the frequencies are, the more rain fade there is. And so, but the higher frequencies give you more bandwidth. It's kind of like a trade-off that we're fighting every day. Of how much bandwidth can I get and how much rain fade can I handle?
Yep.
How many hours or how many minutes can I have it go down a year?
Right.
And so every link that we plan and every customer we put on, we're like, how much can they go down? It's our neg 72. Can we put this guy up at neg 72? He's going to go down for 5 hours a year. Is he okay with that?
Right.
Is he going to call and complain about that?
Yeah.
We try not to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We try to plan around that so that when it does rain, we don't have those kind of effects.
I will say we live in the sunniest state in the United States.
Right, it doesn't rain very often.
We don't see very much rain here. You ought to ask a guy in Seattle.
But when it rains, it pours down here. You got to admit that too. When it rains hard for like 30 minutes and it's done.
Yeah, maybe we'll get a WISP on here, a WISP owner from Seattle,
right? And
ask him
talk about rain fade.
You deal with rain every day.
You're right.
Does my smart fridge slow down my Wi-Fi?
It can. So the problem with having all these devices on the network is they literally they can have like data leaks type thing and cause a lot of problems.
Yeah.
So it can for sure.
Okay. Well, that's it for today. We're gonna miss the last question, but we'll wrap it up next week.
Yeah, we can throw it on to next week. So.
That's it for episode 5. Thanks for joining. And yeah.
Like and subscribe. We'll see you next week.
Yep. See you next week.